Hi everyone, I'm Mark Cheverton, author of the Game Night 999 series of Minecraft novels, and I wanted to talk with you today about character development and how I come up with my characters. I get asked that question a lot from kids, and so I recently wrote a new book called The Giant's Giant, and its main character is a giant named Brianna Mindshaker, and spoiler alert, there's giants in this story, and other creatures too. But when I created Brianna, I wanted to think about what can I do for her, what can I do to her to make life hard so she has something to overcome. And so I decided I would make Brianna short and really small compared to all the other giants. And the giants in my story, everything for giants is about size and strength. They want to be big and strong. They want to wield a really big, heavy warhammer and be able to lift big stones and stuff. And Brianna is small. And people picked on her a lot, so she gets in a lot of fights and she gets in a lot of trouble, and it causes trouble for her. And so this gives me the opportunity to put things in front of her, obstacles that she has to overcome that's hard for a small giant. And the reader is going to watch this and root for her and like her because she's a tough girl and she's not going to take no for an answer and she's not going to give up. And then there's another character in there in this book named Stannis Cunningham. And Stannis is a human, and he's a really, really big human. He's big and strong, really big and strong, to the point where everybody thinks he should be a strong fighter, and he should be a warrior, but he doesn't want to fight, and he doesn't want to be a warrior, and he doesn't want to do things like that. And so that creates situations for him where there's something that he has to work on, and he doesn't want to be a fighter, he wants to be something else. But then he meets Brianna, and now you got this big human who's taller than a giant. And talk about humiliating for Brianna. She hates Stannis because he's bigger than her. And so they're going to end up getting together and having to go on an adventure together, and they have to figure out how to work together and understand each other and their strengths and their weaknesses, and they have to get over their size so that they can just be them. And so by giving Stannis really, really high height and Brianna making her really short, this creates a situation that is just ripe with tension and conflict. And that's what you want in your stories, is you always want tension and conflict in your stories. And so this is how I think about my characters when I develop them. I just brainstormed a couple of characters here that I'm not using in a story, but just thinking about as an example. Let's see, where are they? Oh, yeah. So let's think about some other characters you know, like Harry Potter, for example. What's his flaw? I'd say Harry's flaw is he doesn't feel like he fits in. His parents are gone, nobody understands him, he's living under the stairs, and then he goes to Hogwarts and he's the boy who survived, and everybody thinks he's something else, and nobody understands him, and he's sad. And the reader feels sorry for him, and the reader roots for him to be successful. His flaw does that. Now think about my favorite movie, the Lego Movie, and Emmett in there. Emmett really doesn't have any friends, and he feels alone, and he feels isolated, and nobody understands him. It's very similar to Harry, but he has no confidence. You know, he's not a master builder. He's a nobody. And so that attitude gives him opportunities to test himself and to create, and for the writer to create conflict for him. And let's see, the last one. If we think about, I just watched the movie Coco, the new Pixar movie. May not be new when you see this, but if you think about Miguel, the main character there, he doesn't understand who he came from. He's a musician and everybody else is a shoemaker, and he doesn't understand his family, and he doesn't understand how he fits into his family, and he doesn't understand his heritage. And so this creates a situation where he can go on an adventure to learn about his family. It's a great, great movie. Has a fantastic Dark Night of the Soul. If you watch my lesson on Dark Night of the Soul, that is a classic one there in that story. It is fantastic. Now, let's think about, I got a list of other ones here. So here's a couple of example characters that I just thought up for this lesson. What about a rabbit who is he has bad eyesight? Probably not a good survival trait for a rabbit, right? They have really good eyesight. And They can see at night. They're nocturnal creatures. And so this rabbit, he's kind of probably helpless, sort of. And he's probably picked on, and, he's probably teased a lot because he's Mr. Blind Bunny, I call him. And so that creates situations, we can put him in situations where the blindness is a problem, but people are going to root for him because they feel bad for him. But then, how can I use that at the end of the story to let Mr. Blind Bunny be the hero? Well, maybe the rabbits get caught in a cave with an evil fox, and the fox wants to eat them, but it's pitch dark, so nobody can see anything. But Mr. Blind Bunny is used to not being able to see, and he can use his hearing to figure out where everybody is and save them, or push the fox in a hole or something, I don't know. But the fact that we gave him bad eyesight, a weird trait for a rabbit, creates opportunities for the writer to add a lot of conflict and tension in the story. And you always want to add conflict and tension in your story. That's what makes it interesting. So here's another. I was thinking about a dragon who doesn't shoot fire, it shoots frost. It shoots ice. So a frost dragon instead of a fire dragon, instead of a fire-breathing dragon. And let's see, what would this do? Well, he'd be kind of a weird person to join the dragon clan, right? This little frost dragon, he's probably cold all the time and he's blue or something instead of having hard red scales, or I don't know. But him being a frost dragon lets you create situations for that where it's at a disadvantage, and this dragon has to learn how to overcome that disadvantage because he can't breathe fire to burn down the trees that are blocking the way or something. But then at the end of the story, we want to use that ability to shoot frost as an advantage to help him be successful when no other dragon could be successful. So maybe he's battling an evil dragon. Let's call him Darth Dragon. There you go. And he's battling Darth Dragon. And Darth Dragon shoots out a lot of flames, but maybe when his mouth's open, the Frost Dragon shoots some ice and some frost into his mouth, and it extinguishes his fire, which effectively defeats the dragon. So maybe that's a way that he's able to do it. Because I added that flaw to the dragon to help the reader empathize, it creates opportunities for me to create tension and conflict, but I want to use that problem that he has to defeat the bad guy at the end. And so my last one, let's see, a wizard who lost his magic. I thought this was really interesting because a wizard probably is used to, he relies on his magic for everything, right? For cooking dinner, for finding things, for doing whatever, traveling. And if he loses his magic, he's now pretty helpless. And now he has to learn how to do things on his own. And he starts to appreciate the peasants around that before, when he was a wizard, he didn't treat them very nicely. He was kind of mean. But now he relies on them for help, for assistance in things, for helping him cook or find stuff or whatever. And maybe those peasants are going to go on a journey with this wizard without magical powers to help him regain his magical powers so that he can do something. Stop the big mean dragon or the serpent or whatever, another wizard, I don't know. But we want to use that weakness, which is he has no magic, to learn some things so that when he has to battle the new wizard, he has some new abilities because he had to learn how to do things without magic, and now he can do things the other wizard can't. So it turns that weakness into a strength. And that's really important in your stories, and you want to think about this. This is like the story, the plot is where the wizard goes and what he does and fights and who he meets and all that kind of stuff. That's the external conflict, the external plot. But then you have the internal conflict or the internal plot, or it's called the character arc as well, is how he deals with this and how he grows and what he learns through the course of this adventure so that he can, at the end, defeat the bad guy. So this is how I think about my characters when I start a story. I think about this flaw. I think about how am I going to use that flaw in the story, and how is that flaw going to help this person defeat the bad guy at the end. This is super important, And if you start thinking this way about your characters, you'll find you're going to have much richer characters in your story, and they're going to be able to do much more interesting things. And you're going to be able to come up with some really cool situations for them. So think about this. I hope this is helpful, and I'll see you next time. Bye.